dear Simon, and the most esteemed confessional judges. That's you guys, by the way. I'm writing to you, it's another teacher confession.
Good.
I am writing to you to unburden myself of the guilt of a prank that I played on poor unsuspecting children a number of years ago. It's the autumn of 2002. Fresh-faced from university as an eager 23-year-old. I'm doing my post-grad certificate of education, the PGCE, to qualify as a secondary school teacher of modern foreign languages. At that time, the height of innovative technology were the newfangled interactive whiteboards, which were like computer screens on the classroom wall. My school had several whiteboards, but not all staff used them, or they certainly didn't use them fully. This is because they had no idea how they actually worked. So I was in a privileged position of having had some experience of their capabilities because I was young and I knew those kind of things. I had year 7, 11 to 12-year-olds who were rather lively, especially when I had them on a Friday afternoon. They became very excited and several were lacking in the focus department, which sounds like the kind of thing you might write in the end-of-term report. I had a great rapport with them all, however, but I decided to go to some desperate lengths to calm them down. One wet, miserable winter afternoon, behaviour is always more dubious after a wet play lunchtime, the children came in. It's crazy. We began working through some speaking activities with questions and answers about themselves. The whiteboard is in operation. At some point, I wrote on the board the question, "Comment t'appelles-tu?" and turned to face the class as I addressed them about the way they should formulate their answer, explaining, what's your name and so on. A hush descended in the room, and a few faces near the front went white. An answer, in shaky, rather old-fashioned handwriting, was appearing underneath my question. I had written, "Comment t'appelles-tu?" The words being formed said, "Je m'appelle Tom."
Wow.
I said to the class, "Who's written this? Where's this answer come from?" They all vehemently denied any knowledge of it. "Who has remote access to this board?" I demanded. No one did. They were rather shocked, so I suggested we ask the next question. "Quel âge as-tu?" I was thinking, would it be better to be "Quel âge avez-vous?"
No, because she's already used 2, hasn't she?
I know, but it's a little bit informal. But anyway. And again, a slow response appeared as the number 104 appeared underneath.
I don't like this.
Children began grabbing each other, holding hands. Tears were shed, and I'm afraid young Philomena had a small accident.
Philomena. Oh, dear.
Someone shouted, "I want my mum." Anyway, I persevered, and I asked in English this time, "Who are you?" Some of the class read the answer aloud in shaky voices as it appeared slowly on the screen. "I am Tom. I was a student here 100 years ago. I am trapped and cannot leave." "Why are you trapped?" I wrote.
Because I misbehaved after wet play.
It's a serious story. "A punishment," he replied, "for eternity."
Oh.
As I bid the class farewell, I repeated that I had no knowledge of the mysterious Tom, and for the remainder of the term, the Year 7 class was somewhat subdued. This is, of course, the Harry Potter generation, Tom Riddle being the name of Lord Voldemort, of course. Trapped Tom, I have to say, made a number of appearances, each more tragic than the last. He was apparently an orphan from the city of London. His parents were eaten by moths. Or something like that. And he'd been punished for untold wickedness. And he told the pupils to work hard, though I think I was pushing it at this point. In reality, of course, all I'd done is I'd chatted to Dominic, the IT support person in our school, who could access the board remotely in our classrooms. And Dom was Tom, with lines scripted by me. I think the story might have become legend. Trapped Tom is what people talked about. I moved on to another position shortly afterwards and didn't track the same Year 7s up through the school, so I never found out the long-term impact of my prank.
Yeah.
So now I want to apologise to those children who must now be in their mid to late 20s for scaring them, to the ICT support guy Dominic for involving him in my ghastly plan, and for the school in creating a ghost story which has hopefully not had a detrimental effect on their uptake. I continue to teach, but the environment is very different now. The students know more than I do, with smart boards and everything. I beg forgiveness and suggest that in my defence I was a young, naive teacher and not a parent at the time who had no experience of sitting up through the night with children having nightmares, which I imagine Tabatha has now, and so maybe that's some kind of divine punishment. Anyway, Sister Susie, producer from the pub.
Well, I didn't like that. It gave me goosebumps and a shiver down the back of my spine. I guess there was no malice. And it was all a bit of fun. But however, I'd be one of those children if I was in that class, and I wouldn't be able to go to bed, and I wouldn't be able to go in that classroom ever again. So no, thank you,
Brother Matthew.
No, not
from the
forgiven.
cesspool.
Well, I mean, I remember the first time I saw those smart boards. I was so impressed because it's like Minority Report. It's like Tom Cruise. I thought they were amazing. I mean, obviously, I'm going to forgive here because it's, you know, you've got to be able to get through to. I mean, if you can't engage the kids, terrify them. That's very much my philosophy when it comes to teaching, which is why I'm not a teacher. So I'm going to say definitely forgiven.